Welcome, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Sylvester Inspires BeliefCast podcast. As you know, I call it a BeliefCast because I'm passionate about belief systems, because belief dictates behavior. And when you change your belief, your behavior changes automatically. We've had some amazing guests on. I want to thank all of you for your support. It's been more expansive than I ever thought of, and I'm so grateful for that. And we've had, like I said, we've had some amazing guests, and this is no different. I have an amazing guest today. His name's Travis Lopez, one of the greatest individuals I've ever met. I can't wait for you guys to get to know him a little bit better. This is going to be an amazing podcast. Make sure you share this with anyone and everyone that you know, because they will be inspired. And so here we go. Welcome, Travis Lopez.
Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining. It's bright and early, so thanks for getting here early today.
I love early.
Yeah,
So.
He's an early bird too. We both get up way early.
Yeah.
But I've known Travis for, what has it been, 4 years now?
Yeah, going on 4.
Going on 4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first met Travis, this wasn't the Travis that I met.
Yeah.
Right?
Give or take a few pounds too.
Yeah.
I think I was 145 when I came in here.
Yeah. Travis is a recovered drug addict, and he's got quite the story. But before we get into the kind of the meat of your story, I want to just, give people a little background on you. Like, tell us where you grew up, a little bit about your family, things like that.
Yeah. So I grew up here in Utah, Murray, actually.
Did you go to Murray High School?
I did go to Murray High School.
Really? I didn't know that.
Until I got kicked out. But that's, that's kind of where I started. My life was spiraling down, probably about my sophomore year.
So you grew up in Murray.
Yeah.
When you got kicked out, did you go to Valley?
I went to Creekside.
Creekside,
Yeah,
okay.
So
Creekside, for those of you who've ever been there, I'm sure there's a few listeners who've been there.
Yeah. It's not non-existent anymore, but
yeah.
But it was actually a great alternative school.
Okay.
So
grew up in Murray. Tell us a little bit about your family dynamics.
Family,
sisters.
Yeah, family's great. I have 2 brothers, and then I have 3 half sisters, but I'm only in contact with one of them.
Okay.
So
one of the sisters.
One of the sisters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and she's awesome. Her name's Gina, but she's great.
Okay.
And my childhood was pretty awesome. I know a lot of people say that, but mine was. My family was always there for me. My dad got us into sports.
Okay.
My mom always supported us in whatever we did.
Yeah.
We'd go on family vacations to Disneyland every summer and spend time on the beach.
Right.
So
Sure.
it was great. We even I remember one road trip we went up to Canada for the World's Fair, and that's when I was like 5. But it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so,
I bet it was.
Yeah, it was great.
Very cool. So you played sports, and what else were you involved with growing up?
Basketball. I started with soccer, and then it went to basketball, t-ball, baseball, and then football.
Cool.
And then when I got a little older, it started mixing in with martial arts too.
Yeah, didn't you do kickboxing?
Yeah.
Was it kickboxing,
Yeah.
Specifically kickboxing?
Kickboxing, yeah. So I loved it.
Don't mess with Travis.
And I still daily dab in it. I actually haven't been in about 3 months, but I started doing Krav Maga, but it's Israeli martial arts, which is way awesome.
Is that what that video you showed me that one time where guys are hanging from with their teeth?
That was a Shaolin, but pretty much they're hardcore too. But
wow.
No, but
that's very cool.
It helps. If you're very, I guess, like motivated and you have stress.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's easier to go let it out somewhere in the gym. Or doing kickboxing is my way of doing it.
Very cool.
So.
Right on. So now, obviously, we're going to be talking about your past, and Travis, told me beforehand everything's on the table.
Yep.
He's had quite the colorful past, and truly, I think you're a walking miracle. Me knowing your story, and we've worked together, and counseled together and stuff like that. I know what you've been through, and that's why I'm so excited to have you on today, because this story is phenomenal. Not because of, we're not glorifying his past whatsoever, right. But to be able to hear about where he was and where you are today is truly remarkable.
And that's the thing, without my past, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah. I think when you left me, you had like 40 cents to your name
Yeah.
and no driver's license and no job, no place to stay, and now where you're at today, it's just phenomenal. So tell us. So obviously you got involved with some drugs and alcohol and things like that. Tell us, the listeners, how that started and why. And
it started when I was young. My family was LDS, and we like I said, it was kind of that picture perfect family, and we decided to go get sealed in the LDS temple.
Mm-hmm.
After about a year after that happened, come to find out my dad was having an affair, and he ended up leaving my mom and us. And so that right there changed my whole belief system. And so
what was your belief system when that happened?
It was is anything true? Like,
Right.
is there really God? Because my dad was do what I say, not what I do after that point.
Okay.
Like is it really worth being straight headed?
Right.
And basically like caring. Should I care anymore? And I kind of just lost all that.
How old were you?
About 13.
13. Yeah, that's a rough age to have that happen.
So
okay.
I kind of held it together though. I held it pretty good together till about, like I was saying, my freshman, sophomore year is when I started partying. So after my dad kind of left, I still, in a sense, had that mentality, like I'm still going to do good. But after that happened too, it was a lot easier for me to just have a case of, screw it, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And that's when I would say ninth grade is when I started drinking.
Okay.
And then I started smoking pot. And then it just escalated from there. I mean, I was still doing sports. I was still doing football, basketball, and I stopped baseball because it was just too boring for me.
Right.
But I ended up holding positions all the way through about my junior year. And then all my partying, it went from like pain pills to weed to drinking. And it just led up from basically ninth grade till my junior year. And then that's when I stopped going to school. I didn't care. All I wanted to do was party and be the popular guy.
Oh, okay.
And so I lost all my everything in sports. Even my education at Murray. And so I was in the slums, to say the least. And I just didn't care. I had no ambition to do good. No ambition to prove that I was anything more than a partier. Pretty much.
So what was going through your mind at that time? Were you still like really hurt what had happened with your family?
I was.
Particularly your dad?
Yes, I was because my dad was my hero. I mean, he was a Vietnam vet. He always raised us, and I mean, he was a Marine, so he raised us to, be truthful, to be, a gentleman, to not let anybody push you around, protect your family, protect your own, and, all these good morals that he raised us with. And so when he left, it was just, I was like, this is all BS anyways. And so I just did not care anymore.
Yeah. So you sound like you were really hurt.
Yeah, very hurt.
Yeah.
Hurt and scared.
Hurt and scared. And that typically, and this happens to a lot of us when we're that young age where we do get hurt for whatever reason, or we're scared. And I think most of us grow up that way at times, and some of us turn to drugs, some other people turn to other things, but you obviously got in the party scene, and that just escalated. So kind of jump forward just a little bit after high school. So you got kicked out of Murray. How old were you when you got kicked out of Murray High School?
I had to have been 16 when that happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it just because of grades?
Yeah, I dropped out for a full month, and they finally said no more.
Okay.
And then it still even took me another month to even want to go back. The thing that kind of kicked me in the butt was my mom. I didn't notice all the pain and all the hurt she was going through because I was selfish. I was stuck on me, poor me. And so what my mom wanted me to go to Creekside. She's like, at least get in school, at least finish school. You need to do this. And I was just like, whatever. No, I'm not going to do it. What's the point? And it took her to come down and try and wake me up one morning, and she was just bawling, just crying. And at that point, I finally saw, like, I'm not the only one who's hurting.
Right.
So I was like, all right, fine. I was like, so I got up and I registered at Creekside. And then I finished out Creekside, but I actually didn't graduate. I came close. I think I was 2 credits shy, but I felt like I put in all this work to graduate, and I was still short. And I just didn't care because I was still smoking. Yeah, I was still smoking pot. I was still drinking, but I was at least doing my responsibilities to that point. Gotcha. And so I kind of felt like, what's the point? I put in all this work and I still didn't graduate.
Were you hurt again?
I was.
Felt hurt about? Yeah. Okay. So that happens, and then let's kind of jump forward just a little bit further.
So after that, I got a job. I actually held this job for about 8 years, and I ended up meeting my wife, my ex-wife, and basically when I met her, I don't know what it was, but that's when we started getting into harder drugs.
Like what?
Like pain pills, and then coke.
So you're doing them together,
right? And I mean, even through high school, I would dab in, ecstasy, acid, mushrooms. And so when I kind of met her, and she was open to the idea of experimenting, it made it that much easier to use.
Right.
Because now I had somebody that was by my side, and we could go out and party and have a good time, and I wouldn't feel guilty about it.
Right.
So, but then like I said, I was married I got with her probably when I was about 20, 21 years old. We were together for 4 years, and then married for 4. So we were together for about 8 years, basically married for 8 years.
Okay.
But during that time, her and I were using heavily together. It was mainly pain pills and coke, as much as we could get it.
Right.
And so when we started noticing our spiral down, I mean, we were doing great. Granted, we were partying, but I ended up buying a house with her. We did everything we did. I was still working. I was what you call a functional drug addict. So if there's such a thing, kind of an oxymoron. At least
that's what you told yourself.
Yeah, right. So so we ended up buying a house, and I mean, things just kept getting worse, obviously. So we thought we could run from our problems. We ended up moving up to Montana because there was property up there that we were able to take care of and live up there for free. Plus, I found a better job. So we thought we could leave everything behind and go up there and live a better, clean life.
Right.
And it doesn't work. It didn't work at all. I mean, if you're addicted to something, and in that state you love it, you're gonna find it no matter what.
Right.
It's your motivation is
So you guys obviously were very unhealthy with each other.
Yes, our relation. I mean, she didn't trust me. I didn't trust her. It was just the only time we were ever good together is when I went on the road, because my job allowed me to travel. So when I was gone and I came back, it was always good.
Right.
Plus, we were always good when we were using. But if we didn't have that, we were at each other's throats all the time.
Right.
So.
And that lasted for 8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you ended up getting a divorce, right?
Yeah. And again.
Were you still up in Montana?
I
this
was.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, so I ended up losing my job up there because of the recession. And as soon as I got a divorce, I was working anywhere from 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And so after the divorce, it was easy for me to run again. And so I was like, well, then I'm just going to come back home. Leave it all behind and have a new life. And so I did. I left. I came back home and instantly found a job, but I also found all my old friends I was partying with.
Yeah.
And because of everything that with my dad, with my not graduate, I mean, everything piled up, losing, everything. My wife, I really just didn't care at that point. Like, everything was off the table. Yeah. And so I started doing harder drugs. Pills were more expensive than heroin. So I was like, well, why not get heroin?
Yeah.
And I told myself I'll only smoke it. Well, that lasted a couple months, and then I started shooting up.
Yeah.
And I started dealing with meth and coke and crack and everything else you could think of.
Yeah, so I want to get more into that too in a second, but let's jump back just a little bit, Travis. So you've been going through your life up to this point, and you've had some hardships and some really things that kind of turned your world upside down. Can you give us maybe some specific beliefs that you had that were holding you back? I mean, obviously you were hurt and you were scared, and I get that, but let's maybe get more into maybe some specific beliefs you had about you and the world that were really kind of holding you back.
One of my beliefs was life's not fair. That I was a piece of shit.
So what you're saying though actually is life should be fair.
Right.
You had a belief that life should be fair,
yeah.
and now it's not.
And that I put in what I thought. I put in what, I was a good person.
Right.
And you're right, that life should be fair, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I just I don't know what else. Like,
well, typically when someone at your age at 13, when parents get divorced, whether you say it verbally or not, subconsciously a lot of times too, the 13-year-old thinks it's your fault, or why wasn't I good enough or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't I not good enough for dad to hang around, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
You felt like that might have been
yes. Even when I got older, yes.
Yeah.
Especially after my divorce as well. Yeah. Like, I wasn't good enough for anything. Yeah. And I was a failure. Right. I failed out of school. I failed out of sports. I failed out of everything.
Yeah. And I want the listeners to know this, that I know it sounds real simplistic as we're talking about this. Travis had this belief he wasn't good enough. Life should be fair. Kind of the poor me victim attitude that comes from that. But that literally, dictated his behavior.
Absolutely.
He just said, screw this, I don't care anymore, and started doing drugs. And so you can see how your beliefs really were related to your behavior.
They run your life.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So you get to the point where you're slamming heroin now.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you probably never saw that coming.
No, not at all. I always told myself when first of all, I'd never do drugs, but then when I was doing drugs, that I would never shoot anything up, ever.
Right. Yeah. It just kind of shows how, you get to that low point in your life, and you get to the point you just don't care anymore.
Exactly.
So how long were you slamming heroin? How long did this go for?
Lasted probably 2.5 years.
Wow. It always fascinates me when I hear people like you and others that have been on this podcast who have slammed heroin and you didn't die.
Yeah, right. I know. No, I agree.
Really?
What I mean? And
did you ever overdose?
And that's I don't know how, honestly, because I would slam heroin and meth at the same time.
Wow.
So I mean, and I mean before, and even I was still taking pills anytime I got them, like benzos too. Like I mean, it didn't matter. I was doing whatever I could to numb myself.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But I am too. I mean, the things I read about today, I can't thank God enough that I am clean and sober. Yeah. Because of how bad it is.
I had a lady once. I was doing a speaking event, and I get to the end, and I'm doing a Q&A, and this lady stands up in the very back, and she's crying. Yeah. And here's her question. I mean, there's like 500 people there, and she says, "How come you lived, Todd, and my son died?" Like, yeah, and here I am standing up there. Everyone's staring at me, and I'm like, in my head, I'm going, how do I answer this?
Yeah. No, for sure.
I mean, what do I say? And I finally, what I said was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I made it and he didn't. But you know what? I am here, and I really believe I have an obligation to give back.
Absolutely.
And so I know, and the reason why I bring this up is because I know that's how you feel.
Yes.
I mean, you should not be here.
Right. No, at all.
Should be dead or in prison.
Yes. Or, locked up.
And but here you are. I really believe that life happens for us.
Yes.
And I think we make it through these trials, luckily at times. Yeah. And now, because of that happened for us, that now we can get back and help others.
Exactly. There's a reason for it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really believe you're here for a purpose.
I do too.
That kind of thing. And so let's get up to the point where you and I met.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny. So yeah, let's get to that point. So you're slamming meth and heroin and doing all this stuff, and then you went to jail.
Yeah, jail. In and out of jail through those 2 years. Like, I mean, if at least twice a month, right. and if it wasn't for the jail being overcrowded, who knows? Because the last time I did get locked up, I was in Davis County. And they'll hold you for having an expired tag, right. on your cars.
They're pretty strict up there, is what I've understood.
Yeah. So, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
How long were you up in there?
The last time was about 40 days.
40 days,
which was enough because, when I was locked up, that's when I started changing.
Well, you were locked up. Let's talk. And I know you and I laugh about this a ton. But it really kind of shows where you were at.
Right, yeah, definitely.
So what were you trying to do to get a quote unquote high in jail? This is kind of funny, but it's also kind of pathetic at the same time.
I was sniffing coffee.
Yeah. So you were snorting up coffee grounds, right?
Coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when it really hit me, because I told myself, what did I just do? Like, how stupid is this? Right. And the reason why I thought that is because I had to detox in jail. I had to come off of everything. And I didn't snort that line of coffee until I was probably 5 days after withdrawal. So granted, I was clear-headed, more clear-headed than I ever had been in about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And yet I still snorted the coffee. But I think being detoxed and me doing that opened up my eyes. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you are doing this behavior in here, you're never gonna quit drugs. You're never gonna quit anything.
Yeah.
You know, and so after that, I started thinking to myself, well, everything I take for granted, everything. I mean, from seeing the sky, from hearing birds chirp, from being able to eat when I want, take a shower in privacy, go to the bathroom in private. You know, I mean, like everything, being able to, you know, go hiking, just everything added up to me. And I was like, what am I doing? You know, why am I here?
Yeah. And
so I mean, and I know a lot of people, they have that change in mind. You know, I did. I started praying to God to help me. Mm-hmm. And I believe that if it wasn't for that happening, I would have not met you. Yeah. I believe everything was lining up for me to be here at Wasatch.
Yeah. So you're now starting to pray to God, asking for help, because you're kind of almost at that point desperate.
Yeah, desperate,
right?
Yeah. Oh, completely.
And sometimes that's where people have to get. Yeah. To finally go, you know what? I got to do something different.
You have to fall to get up.
Yeah. So you pray, you do those things. So you felt like you got an answer.
I did.
I'll never forget the day you came to Wasatch and you toured. I can't remember, were you with your mom?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, you were with your mom. Yeah. And I'll never forget, I met you right outside this building that we're in now. I think Corey was the one giving you the tour, and he introduced me. Hey, this is Travis and Todd, and we got to talk a little bit briefly. This was right before New Year's, if I remember right.
Yes.
But you wanted to come in after New Year's.
Yes, I did.
How come?
Well, for one, I just barely gotten out of jail.
Right.
Literally, I got out right on Christmas Eve. And I wasn't even supposed to, which was kind of crazy. Yeah. But they released me, and I did. For one, I wanted to spend time with my family, but the other was, you know, if I was gonna be here for 90 days, I wanted to party at least one more time.
Yeah, get one last one in.
Exactly.
I'm lucky you didn't die then too. You know what I'm saying?
And surprisingly, the only thing I did was had a glass of champagne.
Okay. So
but I mean,
too serious.
I knew what, but I mean,
well,
at the same point, I still made that decision. You know?
Yeah. Hey, and for our listeners, just so you understand what we're talking about a treatment center called Wasatch Recovery. I really believe it's not even a treatment center. I call it the greatest university on the planet.
Yes.
Because 100%. Of what, you would agree. I mean, this guy's a product of it. We have amazing therapists here, counselors. The owners, Mark and Jeff, are just head above heels of any other owners I've ever met in my life. Yeah. But you know, I'm grateful for them because they allow me to share my truths to people like you. And so Travis comes in and I start counseling with him. And, you know, one of the things that we do here at Wasatch is you have to sign up on my schedule and you do it on your own. Well, Travis would sign up a couple times a week, but he would come knock on my door every morning at, 6 a.m.?
Yeah, 5:30, 6 in the morning.
5:30, 6 a.m. Just boom. Every time I was here, boom, boom, there's Travis every day. And we'd come in here, we'd watch a motivational video. We'd talk about belief systems. He'd talk about his day. Everything. And what was cool, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, is I could see the light turning on in you. Yeah. Like, you know, I say this a lot, the most powerful weapon on earth is a human soul on fire. It's, you know, a quote by Ferdinand Foch that I love. It's actually on my wall right here.
Love it.
And I could see that fire. Yeah. I mean, you were just so excited, and you were like, man, this was so great that you were learning this stuff here, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience. Like, when we started meeting, from your perspective.
When I first met Todd, he had that saying with the bumblebee.
It's right behind you.
Yeah. So
the bumblebee's wings are too small for it to fly, but the bumblebee doesn't know that, so it flies.
And that was my first question to Todd: is that true? And he said, absolutely. Yeah. And so, I mean, Todd just has this aura about him where you want to get to know him. And then when I did finally get to meet you, and you told me your story, you always find a way to relate to somebody.
Yeah, we had a lot in common.
Like basketball, and just partying, loving, wanting to be the popular guy. I mean, that was me as well. Yeah. So, and then the thing I loved about you is the mindset that you have and the way you teach it. And because I don't think if this was AA, I would have made it. And then that's what I loved about you is when you threw me Rational Recovery. Because...
Well, and let's tell the listeners real quick, really all Rational Recovery is, I mean, and I don't even like to call it that anymore. It comes down to you making a decision.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah.
The ultimate power that we all possess is our dignity to make a choice. Yep. And really that's what it came down to. And it's that simple. Yeah. And what was so cool about when I tell Travis this, he was just, he was looking at me like, that's all it is? I'm like, yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'll say this all the time to my clients even now. I go, do you rob banks? And they look at me like, no. Yeah. Why not? And they go, because it's illegal. I don't want to go to jail. And I go, because you what? Because I don't want to. Exactly. It comes down to you make a choice.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
And the moment you flip that same mentality about robbing banks with never doing drugs, guess what? It's game over.
It is.
And that's what I would see in Travis. Yeah. He'd sit there and go, man, this is so simple yet so powerful.
Yeah,
right?
It is. Yeah. And that's the thing. When people say it can't be that easy, it is. Yeah. It truly is.
Yeah. And
the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
And what I love too, just my remembering back when you were here and we were working a lot together, I was actually real excited. It was for me too, like Travis made me want to be better. You're the same type, like if you look at this guy, he looks like this tough badass, which he is, but probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. And everyone who knows him would say the same thing, like guy wouldn't hurt a flea. I mean, one of the nicest guys on the planet, but, you just have this safety about you. Like you're safe. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
I am now.
Yeah. Like you'd never know he was, in jail snorting coffee grounds.
That's what everyone says. I don't picture you like that when I tell them about my past.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so tell us what beliefs that we talked about some beliefs you had that held you back. You weren't good enough. Life should be fair. Right. It was maybe, growing up, I wasn't good enough, or why wasn't I enough for my dad to stick around, or for doing what he did. And
definitely.
And we're not here to bag on his dad. No. We all make mistakes, and I know Travis loves his dad, and that's not about that. But it created those beliefs.
Yes, it did.
And led to the behaviors that you made. You, like you say, you're almost just like this to the world. Like I don't care
was,
anymore.
Yeah, completely was like that.
So tell us about some of the beliefs you have now that actually liberate you and set you free, kind of like the bumblebee.
There's so many.
Yeah, so just talk about a couple of them or whatever you...
So, my belief now is that I am powerful beyond measure. If you know Todd and you've worked with him, that's one thing he will teach you. That you are a masterful creator and that you have all the power. And I believe that because I'm competitive for one, but I also don't like to think that something else has power over me.
Like heroin.
Like heroin, or any drug for that matter.
Yeah.
I do feel like, whatever you, like I always said in here, belief and choice are the two most powerful things in your arsenal.
Right.
And you are your best ally and your worst enemy. Yeah. So to me, I just wanted to believe that I was good and I am good and that I can do anything.
Yeah.
And so I started changing that in me. Every single morning I would tell myself, I am powerful beyond measure. No, I am successful. I am driven, and I just do it every single morning.
Right.
And it works. It works 100%. Like,
So-
there's nothing that can stop me. There's nothing in this world that will stop me
Right.
or ever change my mind.
Now, listeners, when you hear this, you might think, oh, that sounds cute, what have you, but this is legit.
Yes.
So when Travis left here, and I don't know if you remember this, you showed me your bank account. You had like 40 cents to his name.
Yep.
You didn't have your driver's license, or did you?
No, I did not.
No driver's license, no really place to stay, no girlfriend.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The lowest of the low.
I mean, he really had nothing other than this new belief system. But talk about, really, you had everything.
I did.
It doesn't matter about those external things. See, listeners, he had this belief now, which was going to blow up his world in a great way.
That
right?
nothing was going to stop me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you left her, you started working where?
It's called Kimball Property Maintenance.
Okay.
At first, when I first went and interviewed, it was a month before I left Wasatch. And I interviewed with Drew and one of your good friends.
Drew Toby. We're
Yeah.
going to put the shout out to
Yeah.
Drew Toby. I'm not wearing pink today, but
so here's my belief system. I knew where I was at in life, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. So I went in and I interviewed, and when I interviewed, I laid everything out to Drew. I told him, I'm a felon, I'm on probation, I don't have a driver's license, but I will be here if you give me a job, no matter what.
Please hire me.
Yeah, please hire me. So he looked at me and he's like, well, how much longer are you at Wasatch? I said, about another month. He's like, come see me when you get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and he gave me a gave me a shot.
And do you mind if we tell the listeners how much you were making per hour at that time?
No. At that time I was making $12 an hour.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went from having 40 cents to at least making 12.
Yeah, with no
12.50 an hour.
license, this and that. And so you've been there how long now at Kimball?
Been there a little over it'll be 3 years actually this April.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years.
Wow. So tell us your position there now.
I am a branch manager or area manager.
Right.
So, yeah.
And tell us kind of your situation now. Like, tell us about where you're living and about your girlfriend and that kind of.
So I was able to find a wonderful, wonderful girl. I mean, it's nice to actually be with somebody that loves you.
Right.
Like, unconditionally. And that's Kristen.
Well, what's cool, Kristen's awesome, by the way, and you were really open with her,
yes,
too.
I'm
a felon, I have no job.
When I first met her, I did. I laid everything out to her. I
Please
told
date
her,
me.
Yep, I told her everything about me.
But you know what's cool about that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Here you are being an open book all of a sudden to Drew and people you're trying to get a job with, and now this girl you want to date. But I think you were willing, correct me if I'm wrong, you were open to doing that because you had this belief that you were good.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
100%.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, I was, and that's honesty too.
Yeah.
Because I knew without a doubt that I am okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm worth everything.
Yeah.
And my past wasn't going to stop me. So
that is so fast.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm so passionate about belief systems.
and
I'm telling you, listeners, you change a belief, your behavior will change.
Yeah.
If you have a belief you're not good enough, your behavior will mirror it. And that's exactly how you were. Now he knows he's enough. He knows he is a masterful creator and he's powerful beyond measure. And then he can make a decision.
Yes.
And this is legit. And now look what you're doing.
I know.
You know?
It is. It's incredible.
Lives in a beautiful home.
Yeah.
Kristen's amazing. Travis is amazing. I mean, it's really remarkable.
It is. And I sit there and think back where I was 3 years ago when I was in Wasatch. You know.
Well, even three and a half years ago, you're in jail snorting coffee grounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the lowest of lows.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Like, you were so desperate to get some kind of high. Oh, let's try that. Everyone else in
Everyone
here
else is doing it. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then he starts praying.
Yeah.
Finally, he's starting to go, you know what? I need to do something different.
Yeah.
You know? You come here, we meet, we talk about belief systems. You start changing these belief systems. See, he did it, though. I want to make the listeners clear that, I guided him, helped him, pushed him a little bit, but it comes down to
You.
Travis, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could go back to your 16-year-old self or even 13-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself now, knowing what you know now?
Never give up.
Okay.
Believe in yourself and don't let anybody change that from you.
Right.
Accept failure. because without failure you can't succeed, I believe.
Right.
You need to learn how to deal with life when it hits you.
Right.
And at 13 you don't really think like that.
Right.
So I mean, but if I could go back and change, and let yourself know that you are everything you need, and more.
Yeah.
As long as you believe and have faith, I believe it will happen every time.
I love that. That's beautiful. I think most kids grow up thinking on some level something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
And for you to go back to that and say, hey, never give up. Failure is going to happen, but it's not really failure, right?
It's not, no.
Unless we give up.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The pain that failure brings to me is your fuel to succeed. If you can't take your failures and turn it into something positive, you need to start working on that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, whenever I learned in here, whenever there was something I didn't want to do, I started telling myself, I might not want to do this, but no matter what, I'm going to take something positive from this. No matter what.
Right.
And that goes for everything in my life. If there's something I don't want to do, because there will be.
Yeah.
But I tell myself, no matter what, I'm going to take something positive from this.
That's awesome.
And it works.
I'll be honest with you, Travis. You have one of the most powerful belief systems that I've ever seen. I mean that. Like, you would never know. Like, where. That's why I say he's a walking miracle. Because if you knew where he was before to now, and how quickly that transformation took place,
it was fast.
It's remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know Drew thinks the world of you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I heard from him constantly. He's the best worker we've ever had. Hardest working guy. Always there early. Up, ready to go. Never complaining. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy is legit, man.
Yeah.
Grateful that I know you, man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so I asked you to come with a challenge for our listeners, and you said you were ready to rock and roll. So let's hear the challenge you'd like to give us all.
So my challenge is for everybody to wake up earlier than what you have been, and set your intent, because without that, I mean, you think about it, without waking up and setting your intent, I'm talking about writing down what you want to accomplish, how you feel about yourself, that you are good, nothing's wrong with you. Because without that intent in the morning, the rest your life's just going to be crap.
Yeah.
And I believe that. You first thing when you wake up, if you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I hate mornings. I don't want to get up," you're going to feel like that all day. So I challenge everybody to wake up and say something positive about yourself. Set your intent, and you guys will be amazed at what that'll do for you throughout the day.
What typically is your intent? Do you do one the same every day, or do you mix it up?
Yeah, mine's kind of the same every day. I mean, I should have brought my book in, but I wake up every morning and I pray, and then after that I sit down and I write down everything about myself that I'm going to accomplish, that I am, and what I'm going to do every single day to better myself.
Okay. Love that.
Because without that, you guys, it's a lonely world.
That's a great challenge, everybody. Something I do as well. I set my intent every morning. When I was first getting clean, I would say I'd get up and I like to say this a lot. I'd pop out of bed like a piece of toast.
Yep.
And I know Travis does too. Man, the guy was up as early as I was, and but I would say, Todd, I'm grateful to be clean and sober, nothing and no one and no circumstance going to change my mind today. Yep. And it's as if the universe said yes. Yeah. I really believe that once we make a decision, the universe will conspire to make that happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's kind of what you've been doing.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Love that challenge.
And I also want you guys to challenge yourself to push your goals. Like, I mean, I know, like, whatever it is, whether it's, you eat too much junk food or you're not going to the gym, just change one thing. And then gradually start changing everything else. Because that's how I had to do it.
Love it. Love it.
So,
it's a beautiful challenge, man.
It is.
Well, this has been an amazing story. There's even a lot more to it than that. If people want to get to know you better or reach out to you, how would they, what's your social media?
I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Travis Lopez. You can find me. I'm also on Instagram. I believe it's T Lopez.
Okay.
And then also there's something I've been wanting to do for a while. I just never started, but I believe this. I'm going to either March or April kind of start this thing. I don't know what I'm going to name it yet. It's kind of like Hike for Your Life.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna send it out on social media, and I'm gonna try and let people know, if you want to come hiking, this is where I'm gonna be. But I'm gonna make it more than that. I kind of want to make it like how we're doing, like, you know,
Right.
like help people push themselves, help, you know,
Right.
give back is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. Cool.
You know, because I know there's a lot of people out there that, and I don't want it just to be with recovery. I want it to be all walks of life.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to start giving back more. I don't believe I'm doing that enough, and so I want to start this and maybe help people get out of their house, get out of their rut, and
Right.
at least just go hike somewhere.
Go do something.
Because that helped me a lot.
Yeah, I knew you did a lot of hiking.
I'm an avid hiker, and there's no better medicine, really. You know, to be able to push yourself. And I'm going to start out with small hikes at first, you know, just depending on what the group is, and then just gradually move and try and hike everywhere around the Wasatch, you know, even in Provo. And then if it gets big, we'll go to Moab or Bryce Canyon, you know. It just depends how it goes. So.
Okay, well, listeners, pay attention to Travis Lopez. Check him out on social media. Follow him. Look forward to seeing what he's going to put together with this. And truly an inspiration. I'm a better person for knowing this guy. He makes me want to be better. I just want you to know, man, I love you. And
I love you too.
I'm a better person because I know you. I really mean that.
You know.
And I can just feel your energy just sitting here. This is awesome. But thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for the invite.
Todd Sylvester Inspires BeliefCast. As you can tell, how powerful beliefs truly are, both negative and positive.
Yes.
But here we are looking at Travis now, and he's amazing. So thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're amazing, dude. Thanks so
Enjoyed
much.
it.
Right on, brother.